This is for 5th grade ELA, text set 5, The Power of Knowledge. The essential question for today is how can we attain knowledge and use it for good? Our goal for today is to infer the larger ideas or messages in a nonfiction text. So do you remember how in the treasure box the story started with a bombing and burning of all the books in the library? Now I tried to imagine what it would be like if every library of books in English were destroyed, and everyone forgot how to speak or read English. That's what happened to the Egyptian language many centuries ago. One man couldn't rest until he solved the mystery of Egyptian language. If it hadn't been for Jean-François Champollion, we might never have known very much about Egyptian history and culture. Jean-François' life is told in this biography, Seeker of the Knowledge. The Man Who Deciphered Egyptian Hieroglyphics by James Rumford. Let's find out how he solved the mystery. Along the Nile, the ibis bird uses its long, curved bill to search for food. In ancient Egypt, the ibis was sacred to the god Thoth, who also had a long, curved bill. But instead of searching for food, Thoth searched for knowledge. According to legend, the Thoth gave the ancient Egyptians pictures to use for writing. With the gift of writing, the Egyptians became seekers of knowledge too. For 3,000 years, the Egyptians wrote about their world, covering their temples with words, filling their libraries with books. Then invaders came and destroyed Egypt, and the pictures called hieroglyphics were forgotten. That's 3,200 BC. This is 2000 BC. Seeker of Knowledge, 17,900 AD. In 1790, a French boy named Jean-François Champollion was born. When he was 7, his older brother told him about General Napoleon, the great leader of France, who was in Egypt uncovering the past. Someday I'll go to Egypt too, Jean-François told his brother as he sat spellbound, imagining himself and Napoleon making his own discoveries. So this is a jumping, free-spirited kid goat in the Egyptian word imagine. There is a sharp-eyed ibis bird in the word discover. When Jean-François was 11, he went to school in the city of Grenoble. There, his brother took him to meet a famous scientist who had been in Egypt with Napoleon. The scientist's house was filled with Egyptian treasures. Each one captured the boy's imagination. Can anyone read their writing? Asked Jean-François. No one, the scientist replied. Then I will one day, said Jean-François. And he left the house full of enthusiasm, sure that he would be the first to discover the key to Egyptian hieroglyphics. There is a long-necked, far-seeing giraffe in Predict. Back home, his brother helped him get down all the books they had on Egypt. On moonlit nights, Jean-François stayed up reading long after he should have been asleep. His brother nicknamed him the Egyptian and brought him notebooks. Jean-François filled them with hieroglyphics. There were prowling lions, angry monkeys, trumpeting elephants, and sharp-eyed ibis birds. With their long, curved bills, he could not read the Egyptian words, but he dreamed that one day he would, as he sailed up the Nile. Jean-François had a favorite animal. It was the lion because there was one in his name, Jean-François Champollion. So we're learning about Jean-François' character. Let's talk about his personality. So this is the Rosetta Stone hieroglyphics, hieroglyphs at the top, a cursive form of hieroglyphs called demotic in the middle, and Greek at the bottom. When Jean-François finished school at 16, his brother took him to Paris to meet the scholars who were studying a black stone from Rosetta, Egypt. The stone was covered with Egyptian and Greek words and told of a king of Egypt named Ptolemy. By reading the Greek, the scholars hoped to decipher the Egyptian. But the work was difficult, certainly too difficult for a boy, and the scholars turned Jean-François away. They did not see the fire burning bright in his eyes. They did not recognize the genius who had already learned all the known ancient languages. They did not know that he was a seeker of knowledge, one who would not rest until he had found the answer. There are strongly woven sandals firmly planted on the ground and never give up. So the author calls Jean Francisco a genius. Do you agree with him? Jean Francisco gathered his notebooks and returned to Grenoble. There he taught school. His students often came to hear him talk about Egypt, her pharaohs and gods, and the mysterious writing. Once even Napoleon came to Grenoble and sat up all night, listening spellbound as Jean Francisco told the great man of his dreams. Napoleon promised to send Jean Francisco to Egypt when he conquered the world. Napoleon dreamed of glory. Jean Francisco dreamed of discovery. Thaumas also written Tumas or Thutmosis, one of the ancient pharaohs, Thoth, one of the ancient gods, and there are two regal heads up high leopards in the word glory. But a few months later, Napoleon was defeated at the Battle of Waterloo. France was now defenseless. Her enemies poured in. They surrounded Grenoble and in the early morning bombarded the city. Jean Francisco ran to save his notebooks from the flames. The people were angry with Napoleon and anyone who knew him. They pointed fingers at Jean Francisco and called him a traitor. He fled into the woods, leaving his notebooks behind. There he lived like a hunted dog. It was weeks before it was safe to come out and months before he saw his notebooks again. During these troubled times, scholars everywhere were racing to solve the mystery of Egyptian writing. Unbelievable things were said. Ridiculous books were written. No one had the answer. An Englishman discovered that a few of the hieroglyphics on the Rosetta Stone were letters, and he deciphered King Ptolemy's name. Everyone said that the Englishman would be the first to unlock the door to Egypt's past, everyone except Jean Francisco. When Jean Francisco was 30, he gathered up his notebooks and left Grenoble. He made his way back to Paris, to his brother. There is a roaming black as night jackal in the word mystery, the letter P in Ptolemy's name, the letter T in Ptolemy's name. There is an unblinking crocodile lurking in the word trouble. In Paris, Jean Francisco studied the Rosetta Stone and other inscriptions. He compared the Greek letters with the Egyptian hieroglyphs and herded together his own alphabet of eagles and lions and dark-eyed chicks. But this wonderful list of letters was no help in reading the language. There was too many pictures he did not understand. What to make of a fish with legs, a jackal with wings, or an ibis god with a long curved bill? There had to be a link between the pictures and the Egyptian letters, but what was it? Jean Francisco slept little. He ate almost nothing. To Jean Francisco, this was the letter A, and this was the letter B, R, the letter W. Oh, I'm sorry. So you can see the P as looking like a square and a half moon looking for a T. What do you think it means that the picture were sound? Okay, no, I'm not. Oh, here it is. Then, on a September morning in 1822, Jean Francisco found a small package on his doorstep from a friend in Egypt. In it were the names of pharaohs copied from a temple pit wall. Each name was a jigsaw puzzle of letters and pictures. Jean Francisco studied the names and saw the link. The pictures were sounds too, not single letters, but syllables, even whole words. One of the names drew him. It began with the hieroglyph of an old silent friend perched on a sacred staff. This was a picture of the god of writing. Thoth followed by the letters M and S. Thaumas. Jean Francisco suddenly exclaimed at the rushing sound of Pharaoh's name, as if carried on wings across the centuries filled the room. So the royal quadrich, or ring of rope encircling Thomas's name. What do you think it means that the pictures were sounds too? Jean Francisco raced down the street to his brother's office. He burst through the door, exclaiming, "I have the key!" Then he collapsed. He had not eaten. He had not slept for 5 days. He lay near death. On the 5th day he woke. Pen and paper, he whispered, and he wrote of his discovery in the world. People all over Francis to celebrate his triumph, as Jean Franciscus became the first to translate the ancient writing and open the door to Egypt's past. There's a blue lotus, and its center is as bright as the yellow sun in the word joy. So is this what you expected would happen? What do you think it means to open the door to Egypt's past? A few years later, the people of France sent Jean Francisco to Egypt on an expedition to uncover more secrets. He knew Egypt so well in his mind that he felt he was going home. As Jean had imagined in 1,000 times in his dreams, he sailed up the Nile. So there are rippling river waves in the world Nile. Once ashore, he entered the ruins of a temple. A magnificent block of ibis suddenly rose up from the reeds and took flight. Below, the ibis saw the seeker of knowledge touch the stone walls. His fingers dipped in the carved pictures. He pressed his ear to the stone and listened to the ancient voices. Okay, so how does this ending make you feel? The Pharaoh's names that Jean Franciscus deciphered that September morning came from the temple of Abu Simbel, which was visited several years later. The last night Jean Franciscus spent there was filled with moonlight. And these are some of the hieroglyphics.